The hardest part of being healthy for me isn't the feeling of missing out on sugar pizza or the other things that I used to indulge in. It's this. The hardest thing is how lonely it can make you feel. I'll go to a kid's birthday party, one of our children's friends, and all the kids there will be stuffing their faces full of junk food, cakes, crisps, sweets and chocolate. It is a party after all, but after learning about sugar, carbs, ultra-processed foods, and what they actually do to you, I went from smiling at the children enjoying themselves to feeling a sense of unease at what was going on. It's totally normal. It's a kid's party. Of course there'll be junk food and cake. But when you see children and they eat this kind of stuff all the time, and you have an understanding of what it does to you, how it affects you later in life and adulthood, the impact it can have in your life, you see things differently. I don't bring it up to anyone. I just have to stand there and keep it all to myself. When I go out with family or meet someone in a cafe or restaurant and I ask for a coffee, I ask for it black, decaf, no sugar. I feel a sense of unease just saying it, like my words are some sort of statement of intent or that I'm showing off somehow, marking my territory. It's the healthiest way to take your coffee after all, and I'm sure no one cares and doesn't see it that way, but it's so normal to just pile the sugar into coffee these days that when it gets brought over to me, more often than not, there'll be some sugar sachets and milk brought with my drink, despite the fact I've emphasised black, no sugar. Probably just me that cares about that. I'll go to a local event like a fete, carnival, or a fair, and it just seems to be completely dominated by food and drink. Everyone around me is drinking or eating junk food, and when it comes to getting some food, I start meandering around and assessing everything and looking at the options in detail like some sort of complete weirdo, but I'm just trying to find the least worst thing. Sometimes I have nothing, when everyone else has something, and I don't say anything because then I'm just bragging, but they kind of give me a look sometimes that makes me seem like I'm in the wrong for not having consumed or indulged in the things that they are. Like, they think that I think I'm better than they are. I'm not. I just don't want the cake. I'm not perfect, and I do occasionally indulge, not necessarily because I want it, but because it was my only choice. And then I feel bad for having done it afterwards, because when I indulge, it rarely meets or exceeds my expectations, and I'm left feeling a bit disappointed in myself for wasting my money. You may be thinking that I'm some sort of loser for not indulging. Like, live a little, Niall. Treat yourself once in a while, Niall. Give yourself a break. But that's the problem. Like, for every day that you're healthy, you're being pushed and persuaded to indulge, even though it isn't actually the right thing for us to do. I used to do it as well. I'd enable those around me to eat crap. I'd encourage it, even in my young children. And as your friends, family and loved ones talk about health issues, doctor's appointments and being ill again, rashes, colds, flu, COVID, headaches, backaches, knee aches, toe aches, I have to stay silent because my instinct is to chip in with some helpful advice, to explain that doing this and doing that will help you in ways you can't possibly imagine. How I don't ever get back pain anymore, despite the fact I used to suffer with it for years. How I've turned my whole life around. And I eat such healthy, tasty food that will give you energy and an ache-free existence of which you cannot conceive. But I can't say that because no one wants to hear it. They just want to have a moan because we're all in this together. But try finding a group of like-minded people where you can talk about your ache and pain-free life and the fact you haven't had to visit a doctor for 10 years, or how you've sorted your sleep and you've got your children to sleep better and managed to get your children to eat 20 different plants a week, or how you've managed to lower your resting heart rate to its lowest ever level. They just don't exist, these groups. No one has a group that's like that. I only have 1 or 2 people in my whole life that I can share this kind of stuff with. But I have over 50 people in my life just waiting and happy to hear me say what a rough time I'm having being ill all the time, or how my back aches again. I overhear conversations, like one of the people in the school run boasting to the other parent about how they pulled an all-nighter. The person they're speaking to boasts back about how many glasses of wine they drank the previous night. I don't say anything. Why would I? But I know I've read something somewhere about sleep deprivation and how it's like drink driving and how it's not safe to drive having not slept. And oh my goodness, there they are. They're going to take their children home in the car and they haven't been to sleep in like 2 days. and the other one had all that wine. I'm not judging here. There's just no way of saying any of this kind of stuff to anyone without seeming like a total dick. So it's lonely. You just have to grin and bear it and just keep quiet and just hope that people find their own way. There are occasions, very rare ones, where I have managed to steer a conversation in the direction that does end up helping someone, usually because they're talking to me about an issue that I used to have, and I can relate to it and say, oh, I used to have that problem too, but I don't have it anymore because I did X, Y, and Z. And most of the time, people are interested to hear what you say, but oftentimes you can see the eyes glazing over. That person that drove their children home having not slept, I don't moan about them or judge them. I feel awful and guilty that I can't somehow help that person understand or see that which they don't even know that they need to understand or see. Does that make sense? The parent who feeds their children junk every single day, I don't judge that parent because they can't know. They can't know what damage they are doing, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. I feel sad for the child. I feel gutted that I can't ever just go up to and speak to that parent and give them information that may help benefit their lives in a positive way. Sometimes I get a thought in my head where I feel like I just want to say fuck it and just eat and indulge like everyone else and let my children do the same because it's just normal and what everyone else is doing. Why should I bother? This is the hardest part about being healthy. It's difficult to just go about your day in an environment that's full of wrongs that are considered to be normal. But normal is often wrong, not necessarily what's right.